Hey guys, welcome back to episode 2, and we're here not only with Susie, but we have my sister and my team member, my sister Alexus.
Hello.
So she's here with us, and we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about what's going on in real estate. We have some great topics for you guys. So let's get started.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to have you both here today, guys. The sisters.
Yes, the Beck sisters.
Twinsies.
I know. Everyone thinks that we're twins, especially when we're showing houses. They'll look at us. They'll be like,
You were just here.
Literally, we could play like Home Alone. I mean, not the Home Alone.
Home Alone.
The Parent Trap.
But I don't feel like we look that much alike.
Because you guys see each other all the time. You're sisters. You grew up together. We see it as outsiders. We don't see you all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's
you
our
have a lot of
traits.
features.
That's what it is.
I think it's our trait.
Your mannerisms. You have similar mannerisms,
Yeah.
and your smile. I can kind of see it.
And I think even kind of that translate with our clients. Because when we show houses, we're very expressive. We're like, listen, guys, you can do this, you can do that. We like to give them so many ideas to be able to also sell the home to them. So I think we're kind of the same in that too.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
right.
That.
So I wanted to talk to you, Susie and Alexis, because we're hearing, I don't want to say rumors because it's on the news, right?
Yeah.
We're hearing talks of this. But can you give us a little bit more information about the 50-year FHA program?
Yes, so the 50-year FHA program is something that our President Donald Trump has been talking about. It's toying with the idea of making home ownership a little more affordable. There isn't a lot of information about it because I guess it's exactly that. It's an idea. It's something that he's thinking about. But a lot of times when they start discussing ideas, those are things that become reality, right? It's
Right,
something
yeah.
They see what are the stipulations. Right now, we don't know what the credit score requirements would be, what the guidelines would be, how much money they would need to put down. I'm assuming it would apply to whether it's most likely an FHA, which is what makes more sense to me, that's where the 50-year loan would come into play. But it's something exciting because things change constantly when it comes to home ownership and loans, but not a lot changes when it comes to the loan terms. It's been 30 years since President Roosevelt set it in action in order to help with affordability of people becoming homeowners. But now we're thinking about 50 years. And a lot of people get scared about that, right? It's like you guys, Dave Ramsey says, pay your home loan as soon as you can, try to live a mortgage free, but that's not a reality for everybody. Yeah. That's not something that everybody in America can afford. We live in a very expensive environment. New York in itself, it's an expensive state. So
Long Island's a niche. Yeah.
Exactly. So adding that additional 10-year might make the difference from a family that can afford a $4,000 mortgage to, what they are right now, $5,000. And if that's going to be that big of a difference, it might be something that's worth looking into it to start generational wealth for people. Something that people don't realize is we are already doing 40-year in some way. Mm-hmm. A lot of times when families are struggling with their payments and they go through a process called modification, some lenders, in an effort to help them stay in their homes, resort to using, instead of reverting to the 30-year, it's a 40-year. It's not available to everybody. If you're looking to buy and you want to qualify for a 40-year loan, that's not available right now to you, but it is available when you're already a homeowner and you're going through that modification phase.
Okay.
It's something that's already...
I think that it's in the talks, but I do think that from a realtor perspective, it would make a big difference because we have clients that they'll tell us, I can only spend $4,300 or $3,500, right? Those numbers, they make a big difference. I don't know if you have maybe from your side any encounters with clients that they're just like set on a certain number.
No, definitely. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Actually, you and I had a client like that.
Yes.
The ones that we closed. Do you know that they tried for 3 years with a different team?
No,
yeah,
I did
for
not
3
know
years.
that.
They told us when they came to sign the last documents before the closing, they actually were so grateful. They said that this was their I think third or fourth attempt, and if it didn't work out, they were gonna it was meant for them to rent. They said they had tried with different people for 3 years, and they had worked through so many different obstacles, fixing their credit, saving money. There was so much for them to do, right? And they actually were so happy that they were able to. They got a great house too. It was a beautiful brand new house. So they said that was the best house that they had ever been in contract with. They were in contract prior to working with you.
No, I didn't
And they
know
lost their down
that.
payment with the other
Wow.
team they were with. So
They lost their down payment?
with the other team they were with, yeah. And that's why they were saying that they were so grateful that they were recommended to you guys.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. But you
crazy.
see, that's why I love what we do.
I don't want to even hear that anymore.
Yeah.
Losing my down payment. It's
It marks the difference. It marks the difference, and that's why, and we said this last time. It matters who you work with, right?
Absolutely.
It matters the people that you have in your corner because we're gonna fight for you. We're going to make sure this goes through, and we're going to educate you, right? These are programs coming out that if they do, eventually make it official and they solidify it, I think that it will be a game changer.
Absolutely.
So I'm looking forward to it. We got to keep that, I guess.
I'm sure it's not going to be for everybody, and if you can afford a traditional 30-year loan, that's where I would say stick with it. This is for those people that are on the cuffs, that they want to become homeowners. They don't want to pay somebody else's mortgage, and this is their one way of becoming a homeowner.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of lenders don't like the idea. I've talked to a lot of my colleagues, and if it actually freaks them out to like 50 years, that's crazy. If we need to, but sometimes you need to think outside the box, right? And this is what America might need right now.
Yeah, creative lending. Yeah. I'm here for it. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
So, ladies, now that we're around the season, it's Christmas time. We're getting close to New Year's. We are meeting so many different people that are coming together to help others. And I think that it's super important that we know how to help those who have been on the first line of constantly being there for others. For police officers, for those firefighters, for those who are just teachers that are being there for our youth that are our upcoming generation. What type of programs do we have for them?
We actually have something called Lending to Heroes. That's with Nationwide Mortgage, and this is different types of ways that we can kind of help these heroes, exactly that, become homeowners, right? So there's for the first responders, there's for firemen, we have an area for veterans, which is the VA loan veterans, they just passed. So there's so many different things that we can do. When it comes to veteran loans, we do those very well. A lot of times the veteran, I'll tell you, I actually did a loan for a friend recently, and they ended up going into contract, not putting anything down. They put $1,000 to get into it to show their good faith, but they weren't required to for the loan program. And they were able to get a seller's concession. So to start to finish, they got their home with $5,000.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but those are the things when you sit down and you kind of see what you can do for the veterans. The same thing goes for Lending to Heroes, right? For anybody that's a paramedic, a police officer, in civil service, there's ways that we can help with their funding fee. They get lower rates. It could be integrated with grants. Then there's a lot of grants that will give you $15,000, $20,000 towards the purchase as long as you qualify and meet certain criteria. So there is a lot of support for those that are out there doing things to help our communities, and they don't have enough information to know, hey, home ownership is a real possibility for me. Make sure you sit down, talk to your team. You guys are a wealth of information as well, and you're a great resource for a starting point so that we can kind of discuss how can we help you and how can we get you into a home.
That's amazing.
Do those grants have any type of requirement?
Some of them do. Some of them, it depending on how long they've been on the job. It depends also how much they make. There's a lot of different stipulations. Like, for example, nurses on Long Island, there's a lot of different grants that we can combine.
So we can add more than one grant?
You can. Awesome. You can combine depending on the loan program.
Wow.
And when you speak to us, we'll be able to kind of coach you and show you which loan programs work.
And let's say if there's an individual who he just became a cop, but he co-signed for his mom, would that take away that benefit for him?
That is a majority of them are very much for first-time home buyers.
So they're for
yeah,
first-time
and
buyers.
I'm sure we can do some more research into that, but the majority are.
Okay.
It's or if you've just keep this in mind though. Let's say you co-sign for somebody and they sold the house 5 years ago. If you haven't owned a home for the past 3 years, that kind of puts you in a place where you can qualify for those.
Okay.
You're a first-time home buyer. Again, you haven't owned something within the past 3 years. That's a different avenue. But if they're still on the loan with their mom, they're no longer considered that.
So, but there's ways to go around it.
There's ways to, if they're no longer, if it was sold or they're going to sell, there's ways for them to be able to qualify in that manner down the line.
Okay, and let's say, do certain townships play a role?
Yeah,
as well. With
certain
these grants?
townships, yeah, absolutely. Like the town of Babylon, town of Islip. Everybody has their own different individual grants. Actually, the New Year's coming, and town of Babylon releases a lot of their grants in January. Which is an important time for you to talk to people like us, right? So we can get you ready as the new year comes around.
Awesome.
That's amazing information. Yeah.
There's a lot of town of Brookhaven last year also was giving out $30,000, and they even had a grant where they will give you money towards making an ADU in your home, which is amazing. Right? Because home ownership in Long Island is unaffordable. It's so expensive. So they were trying to bring an affordability aspect to what they're doing.
That's amazing.
Because if you think about it, right? If someone, and this is something that I've been seeing nonstop, I think because I'm 25 and I've been just like looking at homes and I'm just like, wow, like there's so many people that I know that are graduating right now from either college, because, you know, not everyone's going to graduate
Yeah.
like the way everyone
Yeah.
thinks it is. Like, it's not always going to be 4 years. For some, it's going to be 5. For some, 6, maybe even longer. Not everyone goes to school full time.
Yeah.
So for me being 25, I have a lot of people that I know that they're just starting their careers, right? They're just becoming what they went to school for, or some of them are taking tests to possibly either get into nursing school or
Absolutely.
whatever they're looking to do. And many of them want to purchase a home, right? But they don't have the means to.
Absolutely. So the grants are a great idea for that, and they are going to need to show that they can sustain that monthly payment, right? So we'll coach them through that. Well, like maybe you're not ready this instance, but maybe in 6 months to a year you'll be ready. You would have been in your career. You would be able to save money, but this is what you need to qualify for these type of loan programs.
And sometimes it's even harder because, again, it's like we're at that age where we need co-signers. We can't do it alone. Like, affordability is a real thing.
Absolutely, and that's why I think that speaks to
now.
why a lot of the homes in Long Island now have ADUs. Why an ADU program became such a big selling point.
Yeah. And I wanted to touch on something else. I know that the interest is different, right,
Yeah.
for our heroes. Are there any other incentives as far as maybe like appraisals or something that you guys do for them?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We can work on credits when it comes to their appraisals. We can work on origination credits as well. So there's a lot of different things that we can do to help when they're ready to buy a home.
That's amazing.
To make it a lot more affordable for them.
Awesome.
You know, one thing that really caught my attention was that I was looking at this video, and they were just really like trying to help those who are trying to purchase a home, kids that are my age, right? 25 and under, let's say maybe 26, right? And one thing that I really liked, what they were trying to instill is, do not buy the car. Buy the house first. The car is going to stop you from buying the house. Mm-hmm. But the house isn't going to stop you from buying the car. And I thought that was so, like, you know, like, that's something that we need to hear a little bit more. Like, whoever is preparing to purchase a home, try to limit certain things that you're deciding whether to spend, whether it's buying furniture, whether it's buying a car, whether it's buying big gifts for others. I think if you could limit your spending before purchasing a home, I think that's very, very important.
That's actually a great point, Alexus. You know that a lot of times we sit down with buyers and we look at their credit, looks great, they're in 700s, they're saving money, they have enough what they need, and then you take a look at their debt to income, and their car payment is like $900.
High.
And I'm like, and the reality is, it's right. It's expensive to own a car right now. The reality is, you don't see car payment that's at $300 like you once did. It's not the reality that we live in.
Thank God mine is low, but it's not as low.
But it's not the reality that we live in. So when we start to look at that, 100%, there's so many times when they could have qualified for $600,000, but they have that $900 car payment. Now, you know, you're looking at that, you know, $495, $500. That's a big, you know, that's a big gap. So there's a lot that we can do when it comes to, you know, guiding and education, but I think it's also so important for you, something that you're touching on, that, you know, you have these people that are your age, 25, super young, looking to buy a home. And do you know that the average home buyer right now is 38 years old?
Yeah. Wow, yeah.
And before, it was younger.
100%. It's just that expensive to be a homeowner.
It's affordability. That's, I think, like, the main problem.
Even my clients now, like, the majority of my clients, honestly, they're 39 and up.
And that's the reality of it. And do you know something that I also find very interesting is the likelihood of a female buying a house by herself is higher than it is a male buying a house by himself.
I think it's because we have that drive, like, we're gonna get it done.
I'm telling you, even with all these businesses, it's like women are unstoppable. They quieted us in the beginning, but now I just see girls just like killing it. Even with the Pilates studios. Right now I started going to Pilates, and I brought Missy with me. I brought Diana with me.
I love that.
And I told them, I'm like, you guys, like, it's awesome. Like, you have to move your body. And that's something that I encourage everyone to move your body at least Monday through Saturday. You take that one rest day, which is Sunday.
I love that,
But move your body, because it's gonna, once you start really taking care of yourself, everything else, you're just going to be like, you know what, I need to start taking care of this. I need to start taking care of my finances. Or you're going to start setting goals for yourself. And I think that right now, everyone thinks that it's so impossible to purchase a home, but there's so many incentives. And now we're having so many more workshops. People are doing podcasts. Look at us. We're here sitting about purchasing a home, and you wouldn't see that 20 years ago. You wouldn't really even see that 10 years ago. TikTok is becoming a thing. Social media is becoming a thing, and everyone's getting their voices heard. So I think that it's so important that we're able to encourage our community, especially me. I graduated in Brentwood, and Brentwood really doesn't have such a great rep, right? A lot of kids are struggling right now, but I think that they're motivated. And as long as we give them the right guidelines, anything is possible.
No, absolutely. And I love that. I think that you touched on something so important, right? We're in a time where information is accessible. You could just go on Instagram, TikTok. You guys like TikTok because you're young, you know. I'll say Instagram. I won't say Facebook because you guys don't go on Facebook for
I do actually go on Facebook.
You do go on Facebook for
Believe it or
information.
not, I get a lot of clients from Facebook.
I love that. See,
important.
I've anytime I sit in some of these marketing meetings or when we discuss, you know, how to reach your target audience, they always say that Facebook will lead to your listings, Instagram will be your buyers, but I think TikTok is also a pool of younger buyers.
It's starting.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
definitely a great.
I think that you just never know. I think that everyone's needs are so different. Like we just had an open house in Deer Park on Thursday, and every buyer came in with a different need. And it opens your eyes because you see that there are homes for everyone. I just think that number one, you need a great realtor. You need someone that has an open mind and that knows what they're doing. I think that when you're a part-time realtor, I think it's a little bit more difficult. I think when you're full-time, you're very experienced. I can tell you that me being in real estate for only 4 years, we've been in real estate for 4 years, 5 years? 4 years, right?
4 years.
4 years, I think that we have so much experience with the amount of buyers that we have been dealing with. And it's nothing but blessing. But I could definitely say that every buyer that comes to me, I have a solution. And I figure it out.
I love
And
that.
the majority of times, as we know, buyers don't know what they really want. It's always the opposite.
Yeah,
I have this one buyer that was like, I want a high ranch, right? I'm like, okay. And I start taking him to go see high ranches. And he's like, this isn't the house I want. I'm like, but you told me you wanted a high ranch. And he's like, no. He's like, it's 2 floors. I'm like, high ranches are 2 floors. And then I sat down with him because I just had enough. And I showed him the MLS, and he's like, no, this one. And he was talking about the Cape styles.
Oh, okay.
Because, you know, Capes have the 2 floors
They
with
still
the
have
basement.
2 floors, with the basement.
But it was just the way he was just like, no, only 2 floors. So then I started showing him Cape Styles homes, and now it results that now he doesn't even want that. Now he wants a ranch.
Okay.
And then he told me, I want a ranch with a basement. And now he only is looking for ranches without basements. So
it just kind of dwindled.
It goes to show that buyers don't know what they want.
But that's
so
why
funny.
they have you guys, right? They have you guys. And you took the time to show him what he was asking for, and he's like, no, then let me show you the next thing he asked for.
I think
so you
it's
took the time to show him all the
that's
different
why
options.
I always say, like, it's so important for when your buyer says, I want this, you show him 3 different options because their minds might change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's true.
So now that we're actually touching on this, I think it's super important that the people that maybe they're just like, I'm just going to wait till next year, right? They decided to just wait until the market maybe just calms down till the rates drop. What do you think is some good advice that we can tell them? Like 2026, let's get you prepared for the new year, for buying a home. I think that as for me, I would say number one, sit down with us, right? 100% sit down with us.
Absolutely.
Let's get you started. Let's do an intake. We're going to explain to you the process from A to Z. And then, of course, this is where you come in, your banking expertise. What do you think is important that they need for 2026?
Absolutely. The most important thing is, and you guys wouldn't believe when sometimes clients don't know where their documents are. So, so they're. I actually had a meeting with a client, actually with Hadir, and like they said they were going to come to the office at 8:30 on a Saturday, and then they moved it to 9. Then they moved it to 9:30, and Hadir and I were there since 8:30. It's saying that because he couldn't find his documents. So it was super
You know what
important.
you do when you do like a little video guide on where you could find these things. Because there's this one client that I had that took me forever to get him approved. And it's because he couldn't download his bank statements. So I think that with little things like that, I think that it would be great to like do like a video on like where can you find your documents? Because again,
Absolutely.
our buyers are a little bit on the older side.
And even the younger people, it's a lot. Most people don't need all these documents for anything that they're going to do in all reality, right?
Yeah.
Most people don't need all this information. So they're like, why do you need, they feel like it's so much. Like, why do you need everything? You need my
Or
blood
even
type
when
too?
you do
Like,
your taxes, they don't even keep their taxes.
No, they don't. And then they try to reach out to their CPAs, and their CPAs are on vacation because there's not busy time.
Yeah.
Like, I have a CPA that I need on another file, letter, and the guy's in Ecuador. He said he doesn't come back till after the holidays. I'm like, who's gonna help me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's a whole different situation. So I always
But
tell
let
them,
me
I'm
tell
like,
you, I had this one buyer, right? She had me laughing because I told her, I'm like, I need your taxes. She's like, but I only have 2024. I'm like, well, I need 2023 as well. And then she goes to me, she's like, I'm just going to ask my accountant because I don't have time to look through all this mess. Like, I'm just going to ask her. Supposedly her accountant was charging her for the copies. I've never heard of that.
I've never heard
Me
of it.
neither.
I've
I've never heard of that. And then she's like, I'm going to go look for them. She's like, I'm not spending $30.
He was charging her $30.
$30 per copy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never heard of
Making
that.
a
I've
killing.
never heard that.
I've never heard of that. Normally what happens is when the clients come sit down with us, and I tell them, I'm like, prior to our meeting, if you work for a company, you file your taxes every year, you have something called W-2. I have a sample of a W-2 that's empty with no information. I send them a picture of what the W-2 looks like, because some of them don't even know what the
Yeah.
W-2 is, and I'm like, it's the piece that you take to your accountant to do your taxes before you do them. So I send them a picture of that. I tell them, we need your license, we need your social, we need your bank statements, and if you are self-employed, we need your taxes, all of it. We don't just need the top page, we need all of
Every
it.
page.
Right.
Every
Because
page.
one page.
Yeah. We need absolutely
Missing.
all of it. So
Ain't gonna get you that approval.
you wouldn't believe how many they're like, oh well, I don't know where all this is a lot of information. I've never needed it. So it's very, very difficult sometimes. And a lot of companies, for example, I have a client right now, he works in BJ's. They have a payroll company, and normally it's on their pay stubs are on the payroll.
app.
Yeah, it's on the app.
It's like
But
an
no, actually, when they order the W-2, it needs to be from the internal computer
Oh, wow.
at their job.
That's happened to like a few
But
clients of mine.
isn't that the same with Costco?
I think it might be the same idea.
is
Yeah,
the same.
yeah,
That's
it might
how
be
I
the
got
same.
it.
Yeah,
That's how I got
They
the
have
pay
to
stubs
do
for my
it
clients.
from internally. It's not on the app. The app has all the pay stubs, but not the W-2s.
No, it's like a system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a little. So there's so many different things that they need to do, and it's a lot for them. And if they have a language barrier, they're like, who am I going to ask for this?
Right.
And so then it's a whole educating, like, who's, go to your manager, or maybe send an email, or there's so many different nuances to getting their documents, and you would think that that's the easiest part of the process. but
Sometimes
no.
that even withholds you. You're
Yeah.
just like, I don't want to go through the hassle and having to get everything. It is what it is. Yeah.
You know,
Do we have like any like incentives as well? I don't even want to say incentives, but let's say, is there anything that we can do to give back to maybe an individual? Do like a raffle on maybe like give out back like a $5,000 check to their closing cost or something like that? Is there something that we can do? Something that we can do?
That's a little bit different. It would require specific loan programs. There's just not things to give back, but if they qualify for a particular loan program that has stipulations where they can get specific credits, that we can do.
Okay.
I think that would be nice if we could like coordinate something like that.
Because the thing is that you can't just the way loan programs work. The guidelines are there, and the specific way that the loan is supposed to be used. Whether it's how much income they have, what their credit scores are, the areas that they're buying in. So that's usually what determines what kind of grants it will qualify for. There's just no way to just give money back on.
Got it. So I have a question. For business owners, we have a lot of business owners that they want to buy a house. And sometimes they feel like it's a little bit tricky, right? What can you tell us about that? How can they go about buying a home?
So we're in a time where becoming a homeowner, if you are a business owner, is a lot easier than it ever was. We have a lot of loan programs through our non-QM. Nationwide has a division called Fasterify, where we self-fund these non-QM programs for a lot of business owners. They can use profit and loss. They can use statements. There's so many different avenues. If it's not your first home, but it's your second, there's a debt service coverage ratio loan, where we don't even look at your income. We just look at the potential rental income that the property can bring in.
And they can qualify.
And they
like
can
that.
qualify. So it all depends on what type of home that they're looking to buy. Is it their primary? Is it another investment? Is it something that out of state? Are they gonna Airbnb it, because that's still a thing? So when it comes to being a homeowner and wanting to purchase something through your business or with LLCs or through, P&Ls. There's a lot of different avenues now through non-QM. Our non-QM division is really robust, and that's super important because what it does, it's rates are kind of high still. So when it comes, before people are like, oh, if I go P&L, my rate's going to be substantially higher. It's actually not that bad. They're pretty close. So sometimes I actually think that if a person comes to me and sits down with me and says, oh, I want to buy an investment property, I want to buy a secondary home, and it's going to be through a conventional, it might not even be worth it because you're still going to put 15 to 20% down, and it might be even better to just do a debt service coverage ratio because all we're doing is looking at what the potential rental income of that property will be to qualify. Now you don't need all these documents. It's a lot quicker. Those close super quick.
Right.
And the rates are pretty competitive.
And would that be the same rolling into as like people that have a 1099 versus a W-2?
Well, W-2 it's a little different. If they own a business or they're business owners, they could still qualify. Doesn't matter whether, debt service coverage ratio doesn't really matter what you do. It's how you want to use it. Okay. As long as you're already own your own primary home, you could go ahead and use that as an investment if that's how you're going to do it.
So how would it work if you have someone that's like W-2, right? Because we have a lot of people that they're W-2, and then maybe their co-signer is a 1099, right? Like, how would you be able to make that work?
So we'd look at their income based on their depending on the loan program. It could be 1 year, it could be 2 years. We'll look at their income for the past 2 years or the 1 year, what it is. And then the person that's 1099, we'd have to actually take a look at their taxes and see. Because the 1099, what it is, it's that they're a subcontractor, right? Mm-hmm. They're being paid, but they're not paying any taxes on their income. So we have to see what they paid out in their tax returns. They may have made $95,000, but in reality, they made $75,000 after paying out their taxes. So we can't use the same income that we would, right? But it all depends. But they can still become homeowners using a lot of different programs. There's a 1099 program. There is actually a program for every stance in your life, in all reality. It's just you sitting down with somebody like us to educate you and say, hey, you're 1099, we can do this. You already own a home, you know what debt service coverage ratio, you own your own business, landscaping, we can do P&L, bank statements. There's so many different avenues. It just depends how much money you want to put down, where your credit stands. And that's one thing. With non-QM, credit needs to be a little bit better.
Okay.
Credit needs to be...
So what's like the minimum you would say?
I would say 660 and above.
660 and above? Okay.
Remember, keep in mind, the better your credit, the better your rate's going to be.
Right,
and that goes in hand with any type of loan program.
And would that also be for loans that are, 1 year tax returns? Because we were speaking about that before, about there's loans that they can qualify with 1 year tax returns.
There's some that you can qualify for 1 year tax returns. There's some conventional. FHA, you need 2 years always, but there's some conventional loans where you'll get an approval with 1 year and where you're able to move forward in that manner. And then you could do 5% down. And there's a lot of different things that you can do. And as long as the person has been working,
so they can show that.
Exactly. That's what it is. But we can use a lot. If you had substantial increase in your pay in the past year, we can help you benefit from that.
Awesome.
We don't need to use the 2 years if it's not necessary, and we get the approval with the 1 year.
So it makes a difference. So that means that if you're thinking about buying and maybe you're like, I only have 1 year of tax returns, come and sit down with us. 2026 is around the corner. Because it's better to sit with us first before going to an accountant, and then you don't even know what you're going to do.
As long as they've been working and we're able to show they filed taxes, but they have an increase in the past year, it was something totally that we can use.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.